Okay, welcome back to the TruuuTalk podcast. Today we have a very special guest. I had to add lots of berries because she's very special. Isn't that right, Sarah?
Thank you.
So today we are joined by Sarah, aka Abusin Sound.
Yes.
Did I say that correctly?
You did. Yeah, that's what you are.
Abusin. So to start off, because you told us a little bit, a short story about what Abusin means, and I think it would be nice for our guests to get blessed with some of that story that you shared with us.
Yeah, so I come from Sudan, and in Sudan, most of our last names are basically born out of reputation. So I guess it says a lot about the family and the lineage and the ancestry. And for me, our reputation, our dynasty happened to be a really stubborn man who kept fighting his bull on the cornfield. And yeah, he fought his bull so much that he kept knocking his tooth out. So he ended up having one tooth, and that's where the name derived from, because Abusin is father of the tooth. So I guess he kept good care of that tooth, and yeah, lived to tell the tale, and that's my last name. So hopefully when I grow up, I won't just have one tooth. But if I do, I'll be the father of that tooth.
Or the mother.
Or the mother too.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. Because I couldn't tell you where my surname came from. Even though my surname's kind of cool though. My surname's Anderson Masters.
Interesting. It's kind of crazy. I had to ask to get that information. Yeah. And normally there's so many things that we don't really ask our parents.
Yeah. That was one of them. What made you want to ask that question?
Honestly, it was my ex who sparked it. He was just like, why don't you ask where that comes from? And I never really thought about it. So I guess if you don't ask, you don't receive.
Exactly. All right, so we just learned that you're from Sudan. So did you grow up in Sudan? How long, when did you come to England? Was there anywhere you lived before you came to England?
Yeah, I actually never grew up in Sudan. I was born in Saudi, and I came to England when I was 6 months old.
Okay.
Yeah, Ireland to be specific.
Oh, you lived in Ireland?
Yeah, but we moved around a lot, so.
So where did you grow up? Mostly secondary school. Where did you go? What kind of area was you in? What country was you in?
So secondary school was in Portsmouth.
Oh no.
Yeah. Nice. Which was different, and I was in a private all Catholic girls' school.
Okay.
So that was a trip, especially in the girls' toilets.
Oh gosh. I would ask you to elaborate, but I don't know if you can talk about it.
Just sounds, coming from the cubicles.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You're not one person.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay.
You got to experiment somehow, innit? There's only girls there, so.
Yeah, gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, we're all teenagers. Everyone's horny, We're gated.
You were raised in Portsmouth?
Where can I say I was raised? I was in Ireland for 2 years, and then I moved to Newcastle, where I spent from 2 years up to, I think, around 10, 12, I moved.
Yeah.
Moved from Newcastle to Portsmouth, stayed there for my secondary, up to high school, and then, boom, bomb. Basically, so my mum and dad, they're Sudanese, they're the first generation of immigrants to come into the UK, and my dad was a hard-working doctor, and he wanted his daughter to be a doctor.
Of course.
So it's when I grew up, as soon as I came out of my mom's tummy, my name was Dr. Sarah. So my fate was predestined. It was all written in stone. And after high school in Portsmouth, at 16 years old, there was a bit of a trend going on in our community where all of the Sudanese people would send their kids to higher school, to university in Sudan.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I got on that plane and decided to please my family and decided to study medicine. And I went to Sudan at 16, and it was very traumatic.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So how long was you there for? From 16 to what age?
16, I think I was about 18 when I left.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's quite a significant age. That's like probably, was you there by yourself? Did you go by yourself?
Yeah. My dad took me there, and I remember him leaving me at the dorms, and I was devastated because it just brought back all my childhood wounds of abandonment.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't really around a lot, working, differences with my mom. So, yeah, it was interesting.
So when you was there, did you have to finish school before you got to come back, or did you come back early because you didn't like it?
Well, what happened was, so there at 16, you know, here when you finish high school, you finish your GCSEs, right? You go into college for 2 years, then you go into uni.
Yeah.
There, you don't have to go to college, you can go straight into uni.
Okay.
So that was kind of one of the, I guess, advantages, and why they wanted to take me there was because I could like skip 2 years.
Yeah.
But I ended up dropping out. Like I failed. I don't think I went to most of my classes.
What is it like for a teenage girl to be in Sudan by herself? Was you with family? Did you have family?
There was family, but I was staying in the dorms. And the first day I got there, I was like preyed upon because I looked different. You know, I'm this girl from England, and they just thought that I was this rich girl.
Naturally.
Yeah, that they could take advantage of. And I was super naive because I grew up in a sheltered background, you know. Wasn't really allowed to have friends. My mum kind of feared white people. So yeah, I spent most of my weekends in high school at home watching TV. Like, I couldn't go out. I couldn't meet anybody. So when I got to Sudan, it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, all this freedom is available to me now. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, of course.
And people saw my naivety. Took advantage. That's where I first learned to drink. That's where drugs. That's where guys, you know, it all went down there. And the crazy thing is, Sudan is a bit like Saudi. They've got a Sharia law.
Okay. See,
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. Because I'm sure alcohol is illegal there, right?
Yeah, it's legal. Yeah.
So if they catch you drinking alcohol, is there what happens?
Usually you bribe the cops and you give them the alcohol. Like one time we were driving around in the car because there's no bar, there's no club to like get high or drink in.
Yeah.
So I found it so like funny when I got there because they're like, okay, we're gonna go out tonight, get ready and everything. The girls are like, yeah, we're gonna call the guys, we're gonna go out. I'm like, okay, cool, what are we gonna do? Yeah, they're getting a bottle, we're gonna go cruising. I'm like, okay, what's that? And they're like, yeah, we just get in the car and then we just like go around the streets in the car, like party in the car. put the system up, everyone's drinking.
Well, they gotta make the most of it. There's no clubs to go to, there's no other option.
No, they were creative. I've got to give them that. But yeah, one time we got caught and the police were like, yeah, give us your weed, give us your alcohol, and give us some money, and you can give us the pizza as well. They had like a top night. They were just, yeah.
Okay. But that's kind of scary, man. That's kind of scary for me. I've never really been to a country where it's illegal. But I've definitely been under pressure abroad before. And when they know you're English, they definitely make life a bit harder for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we were kind of discussing you growing up in Saudi, and I know that you mentioned a bit about childhood PTSD. Yeah. I just want to ask you, how did you identify that? And when did you identify that?
Thank you. That's a really good question. I think for a long time I was numb and I was dissociated completely. Throughout my working years, my early working years, after Sudan, and a lot more happened there. You know, I encountered a gun for the first time that was actually pointed at me, and our car was being shot at a point, and there was another time where I was in the car with my friend, and she was in front and I was in the back, and we were with the guy. And after 11 o'clock, if you're in a car with a guy or somebody from the opposite sex and he's not your relative, it's a problem. And they beat me up, the police, with like a belt and like against my face. So I had all this trauma, and then afterwards I left Sudan. My parents regretted taking me there, and we went to Dubai, and I tried to like create a normal life for myself, but I found myself just really checked out, and the only way that I could cope was through alcohol. And I guess the question was like, when did I find out? It wasn't until like recently that I put the pieces together and realized that my trauma was not just something that is just there and it's random and I just have to deal with it, but it's stemming from my past. And if I look into my past, then I can heal it.
Exactly.
So that was empowering.
So we're going to get into the healing stuff a bit further down.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I even went on a healing journey. So I understand the process. I understand how important it is. But I'll get you to discuss that a little bit later. What else I wanted to, she said Dubai. So you moved to Dubai.
Yeah.
So how long, how old were you when you moved to Dubai, and how long did you live in Dubai for?
I was around 20 when I moved there. I lived there for 10 years.
Oh, nice.
I couldn't tell you what I did in those 10 years. It felt really quick. Because there was a lot of escapism.
See, that's the thing about the healing thing. When you're healed, or when you go through the process of trying to heal at least, it allows you to kind of be present in the moment.
Right.
When you live with your trauma, a lot of the time, you're trying to fast forward everything. You just want time to go by. You just want time to go by.
Yeah, and it does.
Yeah, it does.
It does. That's
the only thing time does.
Like, shit.
Exactly.
I spent all these years just drinking and partying.
Exactly.
Like, what do I have to show?
But this is the importance of healing. Otherwise, you're not going to understand the importance of the moment. The importance of now.
Right.
You live in the past and then be thinking about the future. So you live in the past and you're constantly thinking about the future. So the present doesn't exist.
Yeah. And
then you look back and 10 years ago, man. So I definitely understand that. But Dubai. So what was it like in Dubai? Because Dubai also has quite a strict judicial system.
Yeah, that's true. They do. It's quite covered up, I would say, to the general public. Yeah,
because they want people to come there, isn't it? It's all about tourism.
Yeah, and it's an interesting place because it's new. It's like only a couple of decades old.
Yeah.
And
this time 20 years ago, there was nothing there.
Yeah, and they're implementing all these structures and all these great buildings and all of these futuristic initiatives, but I think the people, and for me, all of my friends were local people, like from the country.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like there was this gap that they were trying to make up for between their parents, who were just old school,
traditional,
Muslim, strict, and then they're trying to figure themselves out in this new world with alcohol is now you can drink, and there's clubs, and there's all these women coming from different countries, it was interesting to be a part of that generation.
There must have been exciting and scary, because like we said, the laws don't match the culture.
Yeah.
It's illegal to drink there, it's illegal to smoke there, right?
Well, it's not illegal. You can drink, but if you if you get caught drinking outside, then you're in trouble. So it's really, just a walking contradiction.
Exactly.
I would say. Yeah, because their mentality, most of them, especially in the police system, is very old school and very judgmental. Yet they have all of these clubs and all of these things in place for the tourists, for the business. But it's almost like, okay, this is for the outside people. It's for the English people. But if you as a Muslim do this, then you're wrong. So
I definitely see that, and that confuses me quite a lot. So I haven't rushed to go there. I do want to go there though, but I haven't rushed to go there because I'm just trying to understand it a bit before I just take myself there, do something mad, and end up in jail there for the next 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is doable.
Yeah, it's very possible, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's very possible.
So
have you ever found yourself in trouble or on the other side of the law in that country?
I have, yeah. A few times actually. There was a time when I actually was going through like a domestic situation with my ex, and he came back home one day from partying, and he decided to tie me up and then put me on the balcony, and I was screaming. He was working in the army, so like he knew how to tie ropes. He put me in this crazy like tied up position. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, and I was screaming outside the balcony, and this woman heard me and called the police, and I ended up spending the night in jail. So I mean, that's just an example.
Wow, hold on. Wait.
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
You ended up in jail, and they came and saw you tied up.
Yeah.
And they put you in jail.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And I think I came from a party, so I had alcohol in my system.
Okay.
And they said that I was drunk and I needed to be in jail to sober up or whatever. But
and just out of curiosity, the person who tied you up, did they?
He didn't go to jail.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
That is shocking.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a weird country. I have a lot of friends from there, so I don't want to like diss it, but there are definitely a lot of injustices that I've witnessed, not only about myself, but with other people, in particular women.
Yeah, I see the pattern. I see the pattern. Because it kind of seems like no matter what you do, you're in the wrong. Which is a very weird, uncomfortable space to be in. Even for me to hear it, it's just like there's no one protecting you.
I think the thing with just the law and the judicial system in general is they don't see people.
Yeah.
They don't really stop to ask what happened to that person, why they're in that position, why they're doing that. And it's more set of rules that are written by whoever, and it's these set of rules. It's all about the rules. It's not about the person. It's all about catching people out. You know, I've even witnessed it in England as well.
Because it's a business as well. As much as it's a judicial system, really it's just a business. It makes money. It generates money. The things that they do, it's a business. They do it to generate profit at the end of the day, and they use people as collateral. And I think that's obviously true to most countries.
Yeah.
But it just seems like that in Dubai, it just seems a bit like warped, because like we're saying, the law doesn't match the culture. At least here, well, to some degree, but here, at least here, the law and the culture fits. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it must be hard to be like, okay, drinking is legal, you can do what you want. If you come on holiday here, but if you're from here, you can't. And you're not even like from there.
Right.
And your parents, didn't you say your parents were Catholic? Or they say you said Catholic school?
I went to a Catholic school, yeah.
Okay, so your parents
are Muslim.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, because obviously I thought you was Catholic, you went to a Catholic school. I say just because you look like you could be Muslim, they're going to treat you a certain way. You might not even be Muslim.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is kind of ironic. But so you have a diagnosis of bipolar, right? Mm-hmm. So how did you find it out? Drop away back there.
Actually, I wanted to could we just like stay on the device subject for a moment? Because, and I've been toying whether or not to say this, but since you brought up the fact that the culture is so different and doesn't match the law, the last time that I was in Dubai, I went to jail for 3 months. Okay. And that was because of a video that I posted on Snapchat, which, You
jailed for a video that you posted on Snapchat? Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Please elaborate. Please elaborate.
So this was at the time where I was, still my escapism phase. I was drinking a lot and I went to a party and I blacked out. I was with some guys who were kind of taking advantage of me and, call it a mistake. I pulled out my phone and I was filming myself with a guy. And, we were being intimate and I posted it on my Snap. And then I must have left it on for like 20 minutes and deleted it. And then some person who watched my story decided to report me to the police. And I went downstairs from the party. This was in like a penthouse party in 5 Palm Jumeirah. But anyways, I went down to the lobby of the hotel to get a taxi home. And these 2 guys dressed in kanduras, which is like the national dress, decided to follow me, and then they were like, come with me. And from that moment, from when I got into the car until 3 months later, I was able to like see the streets again. But
so were they police officers then?
Yeah, they were police officers. They're called CID, so they're undercover, and they just
it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. So you didn't even get to leave the vicinity. You literally came down to the lobby of the hotel where you made the video and were arrested the same day, the same moment. Yeah. For a Snapchat video. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So what was the crime?
Indecent exposure. Something about reputation of the country. Wow. Something like if I had posted that in England, nobody would bat an eye. Like it was so trivial,
So it was someone who you know that reported you, because obviously, Snapchat. I don't consider Snapchat depending on the settings or whatever. But I'm just kind of confused of how they managed to see the video, or was it someone vindictive that knows you that decided to report you for the video?
Well, I managed to track that person down while I was in jail, and I gave him a call, and he said, "Oh, I thought you were from Saudi. That's why I reported you." And then I was just like, "Oh," and he didn't even know that it was me. I think he reports a lot of people. Okay. But all in all, to say that was when I had my spiritual awakening. That was when everything came crashing down. You know that moment when everything just like falls apart.
Yeah, it can't get any worse from here.
Yeah, you're forced to question who you are. Mm-hmm. And that was the moment that I was forced to question who I was and all of the actions and choices that led me to this point where I'm waking up on the floor in like a huge cell. And this was COVID times as well, so they put us in like this it's like a huge room with like 6 other girls which are sleeping on the floor, and then like a couple of days later after our tests they took us into the like main detention center. But mind you, in Dubai as well, they don't actually trial you, and it's worse if you've been done for drugs. Like, let's say they catch you smoking weed.
Yeah.
They won't trial you for around 7 months to a year.
So you're already gonna have already done a year before they even sentence you.
Yeah, before they even look at your case, just because you've been accused of that. So for me, it was 3 months that I was awaiting trial. And for those 3 months, I was in a detention center, which is basically just this huge hall with separate rooms. Each room has around 8 women in, and downstairs is the same. But when I came in there, and the way that they were moving these women around, there was like this particular group of women that were from Nigeria, and they brought them in for prostitution. And you can really see, I guess, everything in Dubai jail is just a heightened representation of everything on the outside.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm not sure if that's the same with England jail.
Yeah, that's the same everywhere. I can't say it's the same everywhere. I've never been everywhere, but I've never been to jail either. But I do believe that it's just a mini reflection of the society that it represents.
Right.
I do think so.
Yeah.
Because it's the same people.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's the same people who control the environment as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that jail would be a reflection of the society that it represents.
It is. And I really saw the class system. They have a class system in Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go there, it's really apparent when you go there, when you step off the plane.
Mm-hmm.
All the taxis are Indian nationality. You go to a grocery store, Filipino.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and even from when I was working there, I was working in real estate, and I would have a better salary than somebody in the same position as me that was Indian, just because of my British passport. So it's like British passport, and then UAE. Well, then it's like the Gulf states, and then UAE would be the top. And they'd get paid like double, or triple.
But the money, the talking of getting paid in Dubai. So what jobs did you do when you was out there?
I mostly worked in real estate. The job that I held on to the longest was property investments, which was like a British company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually kind of mind-blowing. That whole 3 months for a Snapchat video. How long did you stay in Dubai after you were released?
I was deported. So
okay.
So when I got my sentencing,
what was your sentencing?
It was a fine and deportation.
Okay, so they kept you in jail for 3 months to give you a fine and send you back home.
Yeah, basically. It could have been worse because there was a guy who wanted to appeal my case and thought that I should stay longer, like 7 months longer. Thank God my mum was there to help on the outside, because you need that, you know, or else...
Were your parents in Dubai with you when you were there?
No, my mum was in Sudan, and then she didn't hear from me for a while. She got worried, and then she knew I was in Dubai, so she came, and she found me there. Yeah.
Good thing, a mother's love, man.
It's true.
I'm telling you, a mother's love.
It's real, because she basically, when they tried to appeal the case, she actually went to the judge, and she like knelt down on the floor and was crying to him, and he took pity on her and just like reversed the appeal, and then I got to go home.
Thank God, man.
Yeah, but it was the first time in my life. Up to then, I was really running away from myself. I was drinking. I couldn't leave my house without having a drink. That's the point that I got to. Like, my drinking was like medicating my social anxiety. I had really intense social anxiety to the point where if I went down to the shop that day, I would be hesitant to go again, because I'd be like, what would they think? They're gonna think that I went down to the shop twice, and they're gonna think that I'm like this cow that eats so much food, and like, what the fuck? I'm just gonna sit here and just run in my fucking apartment and give me a fucking drink. This was my life, you know. It was painful. It was painful. So when I went to jail, first of all, there's no phones, you know. There's just you, and then there's you in a really threatening environment. You're basically like a lion with like a bunch of lions, and or maybe not even a lion at that point. Maybe I was just a deer at that point, you know. I turned into a lion at the end. It was like my initiation into lionhood. But I was just a scared little deer coming in, and just like, whoa. Yeah. Like, whoa, like the little groups, like, you know, it's like so orange is black. It's such a good representation, because there was this little group of Nigerians. There was this one girl called Queen, and she had these two little minions that ran the cafeteria. Oh gosh. And they would like force people. She would like get people to let her clean for them. So she'd basically be like, okay, I'm gonna clean under your bunk and you're gonna pay me. No, you're gonna pay me. And that girl would be like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She's forcing. It's by force. Like force, I'm gonna come and clean your bunk. Yeah? And you're gonna pay me. This is gonna cost you double what it cost you last week. Oh no, Queenie, man. And I don't know how I got into this role, but people would like complain to me and come to me, and then I actually confronted her. And you confronted Queenie? I got jumped by like 10 girls. So, that wasn't fun. How you didn't know that was going to happen, confronting Queenie, who taxes people for cleaning their... She cleans their bunk and taxes them, and you thought you would go and explain yourself to her. Yeah. Yeah. I bet you didn't do that twice. Huh? I bet you didn't do that twice. No, she was threatening to kill me. And then I got on the phone to like a guy from the British Embassy in England. Yeah. It was like 12 at night. I had this voice of like, British Embassy. There's a girl I'm in jail in Dubai, and she's threatening to kill me. And he's like, hello. Okay. Well, we can't really do anything about it. I'm gonna send an email tomorrow. I'm just like, fuck. I'm fucked. Oh, man. I'm gonna die here. So how deep into your 3-month sentence was you when that happened? That was like 2 months, and that's probably when I started like getting some balls and you know. But it was interesting. It was really interesting. It really strengthened me though. Yeah. And the fact that I was also on antidepressants, which is probably why I blacked out and took that video, was because alcohol and antidepressants have a mad combination. Yeah, really bad. So the fact that I had to go cold turkey, I was like, shit. The first thing that I thought when I went into the main section, and like it's just like walking into a zoo with just like gorillas hanging off the... It's just complete chaos. Mm-hmm. There's not one moment of silence in that place. People just screaming for the sake of it. Screaming, fighting. Someone gets a call and they've got like a 10-year sentence for some drugs, and she's fainting on the floor, and the guards are coming in and screaming, and it's just mad. And I was like, if I'm to survive in here, I need to change everything about myself. Yeah. And the solace that I got there, which I made for myself, was, I don't think, the peace that I experienced there, like, I can't even experience it here, like, until recently. But when I came out, I was like, whoa, like, how do people do this? Like, the cars, like, whoa, this is way too much. Take me back. The sensory overload. I know the feeling, sensory overload. You get that. Yeah, but I really that's where I learned to meditate. That's where my mum brought me books on Reiki, and I was doing like energy healing on myself. I was standing up and trying to be like an advocate in the community with the girls, you know. It wasn't all like violence and craziness. There was some beautiful tender moments in there as well. Just like, you know, you're with these girls like 24 hours a day, so it's like this bond, this sisterhood.
You start to care. You start to actually see the human. You actually, because this is the thing about being human. As much as I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, but the beauty of being human makes us all connect on that one simple level. We're all human, so you start to see you in the people. You start to understand that the same emotions that you have, the same feelings that you have, the same needs that you have. Everybody has.
It's true, and especially when you're in a struggle, like it's so surprising but heartwarming how people come together in the midst of struggle.
Yeah.
It's like when I got there, I got my period, and they weren't going to give me any pads.
Yeah.
So, like, who gave me the pads? The girls, you know?
Yeah.
Who gave me, like, soap?
Yeah.
You know? It was the girls, because they were going through the same shit, so they knew. They knew how to sympathize with it. Yeah.
All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to quickly go for a break. That's what we do. So, because obviously this is your first time. I know you probably felt a bit nervous and stuff. I know you're in it now, obviously, because we've been flowing for a while.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, we're going to go for a break, give you a chance to breathe.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back and finish the show. Is that all right?
Yes.
All right, guys. So we're going to go for our break now. We'll be back shortly.
Have you heard so much truth in words? All you gotta do is subscribe. A TruuuTalk podcast. Oh yeah. Truth you find. TruuuTalk will change your mind. Make sure you subscribe.
When we left, we were talking about your jail experience. Okay, so after your jail experience, you're saying, well, we haven't discussed it yet, but I know you do a lot with plant-based medication and like spiritual-based medicinal drugs, as they would call it. So let's talk a little bit about that. How did you get into the plant-based medication?
Okay. Well, it all started when I left jail, because obviously that was the moment that when I realized my life wasn't working as it was, and I needed to do something. And prior to that, I also had like drug abuse, so I was at a point where at my lowest point with drugs, I was taking crystal meth.
Okay.
Which,
that's a serious one.
It's
hard to come back from crystal meth, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be. It can be. But I think the plant medicines really gave me a lifeline. Because I had tried to. I'd taken crystal meth, and that was in England before I went back to Dubai, before I went to jail, and I had tried to stop. I went back to my parents because I think it was around about my birthday, and I was with my sister came to visit me, and I was like going into the other room and taking hits, and just feeling like, damn, it's my birthday, and I'm here hiding a pipe and smoking from it. So I think at that point in my life, I was like, okay, I need to go back home. So I went back home to Staines, and I stayed for about a month. I was just in bed. I was so depressed. I tried to get help from the NHS, and that they prescribed me the antidepressants and the medication that, you know, it was kind of counterproductive because I still had a alcohol dependency, so it was just making things worse. And I remember being really anxious to the point where I would call the NHS hotline throughout the day and be like, oh, can you guys help me? I'm like, I'm not feeling good. And they'll be like, yeah, you've got an appointment in 2 weeks. And I'll just be like, I can't make it until 2 weeks. Like, I was really some kind of can't be in my body type thing. And, you know, I went to jail, and those 3 months, I guess, were my saving grace, because I couldn't do anything in that period of time. I couldn't harm myself. And then I got to sober up, and I got to inquire about myself more. And then from there, I was like, okay, this can't end. Like, when I leave jail, I'm not going to go back to what I know and my old coping mechanisms. But I also knew that the NHS wasn't working for me. The medications that they gave me, the SSRIs, the bipolar medication one time when I was taking the bipolar medication, I remember going to work and I fell off the chair and I just like busted my face on the ground and I had no reaction. I was like, I was so numb. I was so out of it. And I didn't want that for myself. Yeah. So I started to research alternative ways to heal, holistic ways to heal. And I came across ayahuasca. And I started watching documentaries, and I would see all these people with drug addictions and trauma, and they'd sit with the medicine, and the next day it's like they're almost someone else, you know. They're able to identify why they're doing this, the root of why they're doing it, and therefore transmute it and let it go forever. And I mean, I saw this one documentary of these guys that were smoking crystal meth, and the shaman would come around with bufo, which is basically got DMT in it, but it's from a frog. Yeah. And it's a secretion of their fluids, basically. And he would give it to them, and the next day they would be off. They wouldn't be like smoking crack and crystal meth anymore, you know? That's crazy.
So where did you have to take it yourself?
I did. So what I did was, after researching, I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I looked on retreatguru.com and paid for this, but it's a good place they have retreats from all over the world, and it's certified and it's safe. So I looked on there and I found a retreat in Spain, and I went to Spain and I sat with the medicine, and my life has never been the same since. Yeah.
So after you took it, so you were completely free of so you didn't have the urge to take any other drug again after that?
No, I didn't take any other drug after that. Didn't feel like drinking. Maybe like after 6 months or so I had a drink. My relationship with alcohol had changed by then. I was able, I was not drinking, I just wasn't drinking, because I used to drink vodka. I used to, down a whole bottle of vodka. And, when I got back to it, it was just, 3 bottles of cider maximum, or beer, or wine, but, not the hard stuff. Yeah. And, I wouldn't say, it's an overnight cure. It's plant medicine, right? And plant medicine, what it does is it expands your consciousness. So you're able to see from up there, and you're looking down at yourself, and you're looking at everything, and you're able to piece everything together in that night. And that changes a lot, It opens you up. And when it opens you up, it's hard to go back to your old life. A lot of people that I know, including myself, who have drank ayahuasca, things change externally around them, just as a reflection of the internal work that they've done. Yeah. And their life is different. The people that they hang around with, they often want to change their job, feel like they're not satisfied in that work anymore, want to pursue something that is more creative or whatever speaks to their soul, but they're not just doing the autopilot I'm working because they told me to,
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
because my dad said.
It's about finding your purpose, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And connecting. This is something that a friend of mine used to say quite a lot, and it's about connecting to your higher self.
Yeah.
And I never really used to understand it. Yeah, she used to say it to me quite a lot. You need to lean in and connect to your higher self, connect to your higher self. I never really used to understand it, but now I definitely understand it, because I feel like I'm walking in my purpose. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing every day.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I want to do every day,
Yeah.
rather than doing what I feel like I have to do.
Yeah.
So talk about a bit about what you're doing now, and how it's connected to your higher self, and how you know that it's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, well, kudos to you, because for me, the journey, I won't say it's been long. It's been, like 3 years since I first drank ayahuasca and started to do inner work and just really look at myself. For me, I get a bit obsessive over it, and I'm always trying to analyze everything, and I have to remind myself to just take a break and just be and just enjoy life as well. It's not like a race. We're not trying to get to a certain place. Yeah.
Just a bunch of journeys.
It's just a bunch of journeys. Yeah. And I think there was a lot of beliefs that I had to work through around self-worth. I love music, I love creating sounds and music and speaking, but these are all things that I needed to shed a lot before I can step into it. And I feel like people's purposes is not such a linear thing, and sometimes people get activated later in life. Like society gives us this idea that we should have everything figured out by 25. I mean, like, if you don't know what your career is and what you want to do in uni at like 18, basically, you need to know like what you're going to invest your next 4 years in, and then your career. It doesn't work like that.
Exactly. Most people that go to uni don't even necessarily work in the field that they studied in.
No. And like my sister, she studied chemistry, like a PhD, and then I got her to drink ayahuasca because I'm like the initiator. I'm just going around initiating people, like, you have a drink, you have a drink, you have a drink. And afterwards she was just like, this is not fulfilling me. And she left her PhD, but she feels a lot better with herself, and she can cope and be a better person and show up for herself, because she's not doing something that is not giving her life, Yeah.
So I got a question here, and I like this question. How important is it to raise your vibrations, and what are some techniques that you could share to help raise your vibrations? And for the people that don't know what raising your vibrations is, could you explain a little bit?
Okay, so raising your vibration is an attempt to accelerate your mood. For me, something that I realized earlier on in my healing journey, I was all about trying to raise my vibration, but it got a bit murky in the waters because I wasn't happy with where I was at, So I wasn't really accepting the cycles of life. I wasn't accepting the ebbs and the dips and the highs and the lows. And every time, like, I felt wrong, I felt like bad or sad, I'd be like, no, I need to raise my vibration. Like, why am I feeling like this? Like, no, I shouldn't be feeling like this. And over time, I've come to a place of acceptance of duality in this world that we live in. And I can't always expect myself to be at a high. I can't always expect myself to be happy. But what I can do is accept, like, everything, all of me, all parts of me. When I'm sad and when I'm angry what I can do is learn to love myself. And you know, love it's a stretch, right? It's like, oh really, like, you know, but accept, at least accept what is, accept my mood, and that it's okay. And you know, in this day and age where social media is so prevalent and people are, you know, always smiling, and like we're not really allowed to put out bad days. I think it's getting better now. I think people are starting to share their vulnerability more, but it's kind of made it so we judge ourselves and we think it's wrong for feeling less than perfect. And then that in itself is just really painful. So
you spend a lot of time judging yourself for how you feel.
Yeah.
Which is in turn going to make you feel worse about how you feel.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely ways to raise your state of being so that you are like vibrating higher. And that's, I think for me, the ultimate thing that has helped me is shadow work. Is like going back into your past, especially like from 0 to 6 years of age is basically where you've everything that happened in that space of time is happening right now in your life. It's mirroring exactly what happened. Your boyfriend left you. It's the same feeling that you had when your dad left when you were 5 years old, you know? And when we're more conscious of that, when we can sit with that, and when we can send love to that, send light to that, that really helps to release the pent-up trauma that keeps on attracting the same reality that you live in. Yeah, I think that really, because a lot of people say, you know, just meditate and like, yeah, that does help. That helps, especially with like, you know, I've got like such an active mind.
Yeah, meditation helps to quiet the mind.
Yeah, but I think if for more just like general well-being every day, it takes doing inner work and being more aware of ourselves, our triggers. If somebody's triggering you, if you're jealous, it's probably something that you want to do, but you're telling yourself that you can't do it. If you're triggered in a bad way, it's something that you're rejecting and discerning in yourself. If you're admiring somebody, it's a quality that you have within you, you know? So everything's always talking to us. Everything is information, and everything can be used for us. And it's for us. It's for us to discern and to see and be aware of. And when we can be more present to witness it and not be reactive to everything that happens and blaming everybody, but when we can like sit with it and be like, okay, what's this trying to show me? There's a reason why this came up for me. There's a reason why that guy like cussed me out, or I don't know. Yeah, there's a reason why these things are happening around me. So it's up to the person to do that detective work.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know, something that you said kind of brings me back to something else you said when you were talking about when you were in jail and you were reflecting on all of the moments that kind of led you to this position. I think that's an important part of the inner work, is understanding the choices and decisions that you made that led you to a particular position or put you in a particular situation. Because I feel like that's something that most people don't do. Most people try to blame. I mean, because the system was corrupt. Definitely, there's no doubt. But there were still things you could have done within yourself that would have helped you avoid being in that situation. For me, that's what I feel like that's something that I was able to kind of like learn early. The no's can save your life. You know, like just saying no to something. When you know you shouldn't be something, you know you shouldn't do something, sometimes this temptation gets the better of you, but the no can save you 3 months of do you know what I mean? Like being able to identify the moments that change your reality are very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I just want to say that because when you said that, it just resonated with me because I've been in that position where I'm like, wow, if I had said no, then I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah,
you know
100%. Yeah, and yeah, I struggle with binos. You know, it's practice. I've got to practice saying no, how to say no, and where I come from, I was just people pleasing all the time, and it was my way to feel worthy, or you know, like
accepted.
Yeah, it's like I do something for you, I help you, so I'm worthy, And if I say no, then like I'm a bitch. Like I can't do that. But there's like such a thing called a sacred no, where you're honoring yourself by saying no. Yeah.
And I feel like that's almost like a secret weapon, a shield that can protect you in any situation. The sacred no. I never heard of the sacred no before, but I definitely see I understand the concept of it because I've used it a million times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it saved me a million times.
Yeah.
And I think raising your vibrations allows you to identify things that you probably wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
Because some things are normal on a certain vibration. When you raise your vibration, you realize how I don't know if unnormal is a word, but how not normal certain behaviors are, or just how not normal the things that people expect from you are. You know what I mean? Because you know that people ask you for things or expect things from you that you would never expect from anyone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you won't identify that if your vibrations are at a certain level, because it allows people to be able to use you. It allows people to be able to take advantage. So that's another reason why I think it's important to talk about vibrations and raising your vibrations, and letting people know that it's something that they need to research and figure out and understand, because it can definitely be the difference between you being in a blissful situation or a dark place. Do you know what I mean?
No, 100%. Raising your vibrations, and also when you're not having a bad day as well, just knowing that that's okay too, because it's a cycle. It's not linear. Healing isn't linear. It's not you're just going up and up and up. It's like you're up and then you're down, and then you're up and then you're down. But every time you go lower, you ascend higher.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
And another thing for raising vibrations, like plant medicine, man. Like, these are our allies.
Yeah.
Like, they're here for a reason. Let's use them.
Yeah.
You know, they're in a world where everybody's human. You know, we've all got different sides to us, and we try and help each other the best we can. But if we can get help that is like superior intelligence, right? That doesn't have our complex. That doesn't have our corruption, because we are innately corrupt, you know.
Definitely.
You know, it's just part of being human.
As a species, we're definitely destructive. We're more destructive than we are creative as a whole. So I agree.
But then we've got something that bridges the gap to where we're going, where we can be. And I do believe like the new age is coming, and you know, the age of Aquarius, all means to me is we're going more into our feminine energy, and there's masculine and feminine within us all. It's not like you're a man and you're masculine. No, your left side is masculine, your right side is feminine. It's within us all. And for, you know, until now, our society, our world has been masculine dominated, right? Like wars, the way that there's structure, you know, the go mentality, that's all masculine traits. And then the feminine is more nurturing, more creativity, more, okay, instead of structure, how about we go with the flow? And
I've been hearing that word a lot recently.
Go with the flow.
Not even go with the flow, but just flow in general.
Flow. Flow, it's powerful. And so I really see that happening, and to support us in these shifts, we're gonna need plant medicine, and I see already there's a rise in people going to take ayahuasca, and she is her own entity. She is her own spirit. She's weaving her way into different countries. I think there's not a country that someone hasn't drank ayahuasca in now. Yeah. Whereas before it originated with the shamans and the wisdom keepers in South America. Yeah. Yeah. And they held that medicine for thousands of years, and now it's spreading out. Yeah. It's spreading out, and we're becoming more aware. Yeah, and the new kids, you know, I'm pregnant, so the new children, they're gonna be born consciousness on super high. Yeah. But they already are. Yeah. These young people are different, man. Yeah. They got my niece and my nephew and my daughter. Yeah, but these young people are special, man. Definitely. Yeah. It's good to see. It's good to see. Yeah, we're the guiders, so it's on us as well to work through our shit and humble ourselves and play that role, because I feel like a lot of women in society now, you know, they've kind of taken, it's not their fault, you know. I feel like in general there's been this consensus that motherhood is trash, really. It's like not really respected and revered as I think it ought to be, because I think it's just this generation. I think it's a new thing. I think because I just feel like women don't want to feel like I feel like they don't want to feel like what makes them important is based on what someone else deems important. So it's like, in order for you to have a child, you need to have a man or be in a relationship and all of these things. But women are like, I don't want that to define my importance. You know what I mean? So I understand why they think that, but I just feel like it's destructive. And I feel like there's no more important role in life than to be a parent. I don't want to say to be a mother, because I feel like that's what minimizes it. Because they will think, okay, so men can be this and that and that and that, but I just have to be a mother. You know, even as a man myself, there's no more important title for me than father. There's no more important role for me than being a dad and raising my daughter. And that's my biggest. There's no one else I want to impress more than my daughter. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's kind of got lost in this generation, where people want to impress people more than they want to impress their children or their family. You know what I mean? So it's a bit sad. But I get why it's happening. I feel like it's a trick. You know what I mean? They've tricked our generation to feeling like being a parent isn't the most important role or title you can have in this earth. Yeah, because we're human and we're animals, and that is what we actually came here to do, not, you know, the corporate way of life, I guess, or just even feminism in general. I feel like when I got pregnant, which was unexpected, I was like, oh, my life is over. You know, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna get a job? How am I gonna be my independent self? How am I gonna travel? But like the more and more that I sat with it, the more and more I realized that this is my life. This is my ascension. This is my golden ticket to higher vibration, because and being a mother is, I would say, like, yes, being a parent, of course, 100%, but like being a mother, to experience carrying a soul, it sheds you and transforms you in such a way. You're never the same again. You're stronger, you're resilient, you're like, I can't just, like, I've like went on a healing path, but like since I got pregnant, my healing is like on steroids, like every day, and no wonder women are crying all the time. It's like, we're healing, hello, we're shedding so much of us, and everyone wants to be like, oh, it's just the hormones. No, it's not the hormones. this is a spiritual experience,
Yeah.
you know, and it's not recognized. And I feel like that's kind of what makes women get deterred from motherhood, because it's like you become a mother or you become like pregnant and you go to the NHS, and first thing they want to do is just ask you a bunch of questions about your history, but nobody sees you. Nobody sees what you're going through. Or like they just want to blame it on the hormones, and that can leave women feeling really undervalued. You know,
I see that. Definitely see that.
yeah,
Definitely see that. And I get it. Because you're so in that position, you're probably the most vulnerable you've ever been in, and it's like those are probably the time. This is probably the time we need the most reassurance and understanding and support. And I get it, because it's been trivialized. It's not celebrated. It's not appreciated. But it's the most profound thing you can do is bring a life into this world.
It is, and they treat it like a medical condition.
Yeah.
It's actually a medical condition. I'm like, what? And and how it's everybody's just expected to go into hospital and give birth with all these people around. Like in the ancient times, it was a spiritual experience, and I hope to give birth naturally. I can't control what happens. I might go to the hospital, but I won't forget that this is a spiritual experience, that there's a soul coming in through me,
Exactly.
and I'm going to take advantage of that, because